everybody. Welcome to another episode of Cooking with Katie and a Cocktail. Yes, I can't open a bottle of wine. Of course, you're going to see me struggling with it live on Facebook Live. This is very, very chilly. I think it might be like freezing cold in there. It is the sound that kicks off Cooking with Katie and a Cocktail. Thank you all for joining us this week. I was just opening up a bottle of Jolo Pink from Jolo Winery and Vineyards, the cocktail portion of Cooking with Katie and a Cocktail. And this week, we are going to be making a country sausage meatball in a tomato gravy. And I can't wait. Tomatoes are in season. The wine is cold, it's flowing. Welcome to Cooking with Katie and a Cocktail. I'm gonna pour myself a well-deserved cocktail. I feel like I say this every week, but y'all, it's been a week. And believe it or not, I have not had a cocktail in a few days because last week I was not able to join you for Cooking with Katie because I was very busy having my very first colonoscopy. Cheers. I forgot to get you on, husband Ben, production guy Ben. Hold on, I didn't even do a cheers with you. That's delicious. Of course, Jolo Winery and Vineyards, they're pink, crisp, light, like a rosé, fantastic. Here you are. Oh, a moment, please.
I feel like we move back every episode. I get farther back into the corner.
You do. Well, I mean, someone has to run the camera and read all of your comments. If you're just joining us, please leave a comment so we can cook together. Back to the colonoscopy talk. Yes, I had to have a colonoscopy. Everything's great. The prep, not as bad as I thought that it was going to be, but I was not able to do Cooking with Katie and a Cocktail. I think that you probably all appreciate the fact that I took a week off for that. So I'm glad to be back. This week is going to be fantastic. Father's Day is coming up, and we were trying to think, what could we make that dads love? Sausage. Dads love sausage. And so this recipe kind of came together in a lot of different ways. Did you have a comment?
No, just Donna said she's got cold beer and pulled pork tacos tonight, so she is watching while that's what she's having for dinner tonight.
That sounds fantastic. Well, we're going to be making the country sausage meatballs in a tomato gravy, and we're going to serve it over grits that we are currently cooking right now. But, let me turn that off.
Yeah.
Moment, please.
There we go.
Just take those off the heat. Truth be told, before we decided on grits, I thought that it would be really great to serve all of this over some homemade biscuits. So my daughter Nora and I got all the ingredients ready. We made the biscuits, did the cut the butter into the flour, and they just didn't turn out. They were very thin. They were very flat. Actually, I can show you. Let me show you what they look like. Put them in the fridge. They didn't turn out great.
Yeah.
They're like hockey pucks. Kind of hard. They're super dense. So my husband Ben suggested, why don't we make grits? And he's the dad. He would know best what dads want to eat on Father's Day. And I thought that's a really great idea. Also, do want to tell you that this recipe we've made in kind of like different variations throughout the past couple years, I guess. But it started when my husband Ben was little, and his mother used to make a meatball, just a ground beef meatball, and would take the meatballs and put them into tomato soup and would simmer them down and serve that over mashed potatoes. And that is something that I learned about my husband very early on in our relationship, that was something that his mother made, and I still to this day, I don't think I can make it the same. We've tried numerous times.
It's getting closer. It is getting closer.
It's getting closer, yeah. But it's not mom's, not mama's. So this is a little bit different. So I'm not going to attempt to make the same thing that his mom made, but we're going to have our own spin on it. And like I said, tomatoes in season, the very beginning of tomato season, Heirloom tomatoes are what we're using today, and I think when it comes to heirloom tomatoes, the uglier they are, the better they taste. Ben, I want you to get in, zoom in on this guy.
And just move up a little bit. Yes. Yes, you are a child.
It's got a tail. So I'm not using this one today. I'm going to save this one. I'm going to save this for actual Father's Day and slice it up and serve it to Ben on a plate. But, you know, the uglier they are, the better they taste. And now is the season. So get your tomatoes. We went to the farmer's market and picked out some really ugly ones, and I've already diced them up. So let's get started on, we have a bit of a surprise for you this episode with something that we did before the episode, before we went Facebook Live. Let's get started on our tomato gravy. All
and
right.
Kelly said that she got off work early so she could watch you live.
Thank you very
having to
much. Thank you.
catch it
Where
later.
is Kelly?
Yes, Kelly
where
Weaver.
where do you work? Maybe she'll answer us. I was like waiting for her to respond back to me. I'm used to being on the phone, on the radio, and being able to ask people those questions, but it's a little bit different with this kind of technology. While I'm waiting for Kelly to respond to me, we're going to start with 3 tablespoons of rendered fat. You can use bacon fat, you can use sausage fat, you could use... That's pretty much it.
Yeah, I wouldn't say
mean, yeah, you can't, don't use ground beef fat, that ground turkey fat, that kind of stuff. I mean, sausage fat is the best. Bacon fat, bacon drippings are fantastic. While this is heating, I do want to tell you, so this is what our...
Kelly, UHC.
Oh,
United
United
Healthcare?
Healthcare?
Maybe.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm sure you're very busy. I wanted
could be
to
wrong.
show you this. This is what we keep. I feel like I should be embarrassed.
It's kind of gross.
It's kind of gross. We should be a little bit embarrassed. This is what we keep our rendered fat in. I feel like every home has one. Y'all have your bacon drippings or sausage drippings. Maybe you keep yours in the fridge. This is where we keep ours. I wanted to show this to you because growing up, I've told you several times that my dad is Mexican, and we cook a lot, Mexican cooking. And my friends would come over during the summertime or whatever after school, and we'd go raid the fridge because that's what we did as teenagers. And we'd always have a jar, some clear jar, an old pasta sauce jar, or something like that, in your refrigerator. And every time my friends raided the refrigerator, they would say, "What is this?" And they'd hold up the and I got really embarrassed by it, thinking, I don't know, you don't cook with that, but we used it for refried beans, we used it, and every time we cooked meat, whatever, I mean, all the time we had one. And it was only when I grew up and started cooking for myself and talking to people about the way that they cooked, especially in the South, everybody's got one. Everybody has one. So I'm not embarrassed by it. I mean, I'm a little bit embarrassed by the sheer size of our bacon and sausage drippings. But I'm not embarrassed that we have one because it's good cooking. It's not good for you, like, to be eating this all the time, all the drippings. But cooking with it is the best.
Also, you can use Crisco, which we just got.
Yeah, but yes,
because
absolutely.
As a good alternative.
Well, it just doesn't have the same flavor. I mean, with the bacon drippings, you're getting the bacon flavor. With the sausage renderings, you're getting the sausage flavor in there. It's flavor, flavor, flavor. So you know what? As long as you're not eating this every day, whatever. All right, so we're just going to melt this down. Render this down. What you got, Ben? Oh, it smells like bacon and sausage up in here. All right, get it all rendered down, all melted. I just have it over a simmering heat. I don't want it to get too hot because I'm going to be adding, because we're making a gravy, I'm going to be adding some flour to this, and I do not want to burn the flour. So just get that nice and hot. Save you guy for a little bit. I'm going to add 3 tablespoons of flour.
Smells like the refried beans already.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah, it
smell.
does. So we're going to add the flour to this and start stirring immediately because you do not want your flour to burn. And you're just stirring it all together into that fat so that you're getting all the lumps out. And it's gonna, woo! That luckily did not go anywhere near me, I don't think. Getting all the lumps out, and it's gonna get thick, kind of like a glue, pretty quickly. Put a wine glass here. You're gonna know when like the floury taste is cooked out of it, when you start smelling like a nutty smell, you'll know. But you really want to work on getting all the flour clumps out.
Here goes a little thing on here. Jillian, we cooked jalapenos in our bacon grease recently, and now we have a spicy rendition waiting to be used.
Ooh,
That's something your dad
you just have to remember that you did that so you don't use it for anything else like your eggs, or if somebody doesn't like spice, you just got to keep that in mind that, hey, this is the spicy bacon fat. Okay, so we've got this all. It looks very silky smooth at this point. I think what we need to work on next is having a camera somehow or another that can come up and over so you can see. I was talking.
Sorry, guys. Sorry.
Talking about how I think a few complaints have been that you can't necessarily hear the best, and that also it looks like I was far away, and we're Facebook Live, so we're tech savvy. My husband especially is tech savvy, but we're just using what we got, and that's Facebook Live. All right, so this is smelling good. All the lumps are out. We're going to add about 1.33 cups of chicken stock straight into here. And whisking so that you get any lumps out. And this is going to thicken up very quickly as well. I wanted to start with the gravy so that we could just give it time to cook down. We're going to be adding all of our delicious heirloom tomatoes in here. And so we get the gravy going. As a matter of fact, let me give credit where credit is due. I was going to start with the sausage balls, the sausage meatballs. My husband said, well, don't you need time for the gravy to kind of come together? And I said, yes, I do. So we're starting with the gravy. Let me get this all whisked together. Give that time to cook down just a bit. And get all the flour incorporated in there.
Greg was asking if the chicken stock had to be cold or hot. I think we poured it out and just had it sitting for a little bit at room temperature, but
I had it, but you know what? I think that was a brand new box of chicken stock, out of the pantry, so it was just room temperature. I would say when in doubt, go room temperature. I'm really just making that part up. I don't know the answer. Mine was room temperature, and it's coming together very nicely.
Katie, do you know what kind of tomatoes those are?
Heirloom. I don't know the variety.
John was asking. He said, "Are those Cherokee purple tomatoes?" I don't know. You got them from the farmer's market? You got them from the farmer's market?
I did get them from the farmer's market. I know that they're from Cherryville, North Carolina. Real quick, I'm going to add. You can use diced tomatoes if you don't have fresh, but again, these are in season, so I really encourage you to visit your grocery store, your farmer's market, get some heirloom local tomatoes, because there's nothing better than cooking with fresh tomatoes. This is about 4 cups of diced tomatoes that we have, and I will tell you that this is a gravy, so obviously we're going for liquid here, but when Ben and I were talking about how we did this recipe the last time, we could not remember if we seeded the tomatoes or if we just dumped them in, juice and all, so I compromised and I did half and half. I think if you're totally cool with having seeds in your gravy, that you don't have to de-seed them or take the pulp out of the center, because it's all gonna cook down. So this was about 4 cups of chopped tomatoes or diced tomatoes in smaller pieces. It's I think like 5 or 6, maybe 7 small tomatoes, like about this size. Not that size.
Your mother's watching.
Hi, Mom. She would appreciate this.
Chris is watching.
Hi, Chris. Mrs. Chris is watching our kids today, so thank you, Mrs. Chris. She's getting a big old glass of wine from Jola Winery and Vineyards and some country sausage, all brought to you by Niece's Country Sausage, which, by the way, we use in our house. Let me tell you all a story about Niece's Country Sausage. Well, this is going. Just, by the way, I'm not forgetting about the cooking. I know I'm doing a lot of talking. This is the tomatoes coming together in the flour and the chicken stock and all of those delicious sausage renderings, sausage and bacon renderings. And we're just going to let that go over a simmer until it cooks down, and I will get started on the country sausage meatballs. When my husband and I first started dating, we did a lot of cooking. We still do a lot of cooking together, but we were doing a lot of cooking as two new people do, and he made it very clear. This was how many years ago now at this point?
7, 8? 7, 8?
You don't even know.
9?
This is
9.
When you have kids, you don't even know how long you've been together.
9. 2012.
I know, it's been a long time, so I've enjoyed every second of it.
No. Yeah.
Okay,
No.
anyway, a long
7.
time. And he made it known that Niece's Country Sausage was
8.
the only sausage that was allowed in our home. And I was like, okay. I loved it from the very beginning, but you know, I think as we sometimes do, you go and you buy things that are on sale, and that was like a deal breaker. That was the same way that I feel about when I drink a Coke. It has to be a Coke. It has to be a Diet Coke, a Coke. That's just the way that it goes. For us in this household, it is either Niece's Country Sausage or we will just pass on having sausage in the house. That's the way that it is. So when Niece's Country Sausage said, hey, we want to be a part of Cooking with Katie and a Cocktail, it seriously was like a dream come true. Not kidding. And I feel that way about Jola Winery and Vineyards too, because I love wine and I love their wine. All right, so this is all just coming together. I am going to salt and pepper it just a little bit, and then we're going to let it go. I promise I'm going to leave it alone. This is just about a teaspoon of salt. I'm going to crack some black pepper. You can always season again. You cannot undo, so just keep that in mind.
A lot of Niece's fans on here.
Yeah.
Everyone's saying Niece is the only way to go.
Yes, and the local, they use the freshest ingredients. I'm not even kidding. It's true. They're fantastic for a million different reasons. Y'all already know that. Okay. So now let's move on to our country sausage meatballs. This is twice now that we've made meatballs on Cooking with Katie and a Cocktail. We eat a lot of meatballs. Not sorry about that. They're convenient, the kids eat them, they're easy to make. We are using 1 pound of Niece's Country Sausage. In this recipe, we chose just the country sausage, the original flavor. We were talking, Ben and I, about how delicious their sage would be, the sage sausage. You know what? Even the hot, I think, would be great. Remember, this recipe is for Father's Day, so use whatever your dad loves. We're going to use 1 pound Niece's Country Sausage right into our bowl. Wash my hands real quick. Gravy's smelling really good, you guys.
Yeah.
All right, and to that, and we're going to use our hands again, so let me go ahead and take off my rings a la Paula Deen, because you don't want raw meat up in these things. We're going to add a 1/4 cup of diced white onion. Put that in there. We're also going to add a 1/4 cup of panko breadcrumbs. Panko because they're light. That's why we're using them. I mean, in a pinch, I would have used the seasoned Italian breadcrumbs, just something as a binder, that's all. We're going to add, what is that? Like,
Not cilantro.
tablespoon parsley.
Oh,
It's parsley.
it's parsley.
From our garden. We're not growing cilantro. Cilantro. I just picked a couple stalks. a couple, I don't know, are they stalks? Parsley stalks? Whatever. We grew it. I picked a couple of them. I chopped them up. I washed them, chopped them up, and putting them in here. And we're going to add 1 egg. I learned this on the cooking shows. Crack an egg into a bowl first so you don't get the shell. I don't always follow my own advice, but every once in a while I think ahead. All right. And before I get my hands all sausagey, I'm gonna stir my gravy so it's not sticking to the bottom. This is really coming together nicely. All the tomatoes are starting to cook down, releasing all their juices. If you make this for your dad for Father's Day, whether you serve it over biscuits or you serve it over grits, I wouldn't recommend rice. This is more like a brunchy.
You can do rice.
You can do rice, but grits to me is like
Rice and gravy.
brunch. Oh yeah, that's
Rice
true.
and gravy is southern.
Rice, mashed potatoes if you want. It's a nod to your recipe, Ben. That's good. Your mom's recipe. All right, so let me move all of these things out of the way so you can see. This is my garbage bowl. Husband will clean that up later. Move our vat of
Vat of fat.
yeah, vat of fat. Move that out of the way. And front and center, I'm going to put where we're putting the meatballs. A little tomato guy over here. We're going through that bottle pretty quickly. What else is new? All right, so in here, we're just going to start working with our hands. Your oven, what did we say, Ben? 375. Preheat your oven to 375, just a nice, safe temperature. Always want to cook pork to 160, 165. You do not want it to be pink. So we're going to shape these into meatballs, and then we're going to get them into the oven, and that is where there's going to be a surprise waiting for you. Get this all together. Anybody chiming in there, Ben?
Just a lot of good nieces comments and
It really is great.
yeah.
We Ben and I were talking about different recipes that we could be doing, and I thought I really want to explore some local products that we're eating locally, and I don't know if I'm saying it properly. I hope that I am. But Niece's makes a product called Souse, S-O-U-S-E. And I grew up eating scrapple because I grew up born in Washington, D.C., and then grew up in Pennsylvania among the Amish, Quarryville, Pennsylvania. And we grew up eating scrapple. Scrapple was and continues to be a staple within my family, my mom's side of the family, and Ben cannot get on board. This is a man who eats everything and won't touch scrapple, and I'm like, what? It doesn't make sense to me, but whatever. So when I heard about souse, and obviously liver mush and liver pudding, those are things that have always been on my radar, just by a different name. Souse was not on my radar, and I really want to I want to learn about it. And I want to use it 1 week on the cooking show, I think. It's interesting to me, very interesting to me. I'd like to see what it's all about. There's another one called Sea Loaf. That I don't know anything about, but I'm willing to learn.
If there are any people that are watching that know what to do with souse, how to cook it, what would you use? There's and it's interesting. There are a lot of female viewers, obviously.
Yes, thank you.
But they're all like, I've had 3 that, I think it was 3 or 4 that just said that they love scrapple, and I'm like, oh.
Yes. Scrapple is, gosh, you just cut it up and put it on a hot griddle and then serve it with some toast and some eggs. And you know what? The thing about souse is that Nieces wouldn't be making it. It wouldn't be a product if people were not using it and making it in their kitchen. So I want to learn about it. It's official. All right, so everything's incorporated. I didn't want to mix it too much, but I felt like with my hands I was kind of doing a light job. We're just going to use our, whatever size this is, our meatballer, also known as a mellow scoop, or a very small ice cream scoop, or also what I use for mini muffins for my kids. It's versatile. We use it for everything. It's going to...
It's probably I think it's like a tablespoon scoop, I think.
Yeah, like a tablespoon. I guess I don't have to actually dirty this hand. Just get these all in, and not to ruin the surprise, but I think you got 12 scoops. Is that right?
No.
No?
I filled up. It was
More?
20
Okay.
or so.
The surprise is we have some in the oven. We already made a batch, which we
Gross.
haven't done on this program before.
It's the magic of
We're trying.
cooking ahead.
We're trying to improve each episode. I don't know if y'all think we are, but we're trying. We're just
Hey, I got one on my side.
What's
Heather
that?
says scrapple, no thanks.
Okay, well, you know what? Then sorry. It's not for everyone, but I grew up loving it. My family loves it, and it's just it's one of those things that I think everybody has that when you eat it. For me, it is about the memories of eating it with my. It really is about my family. I know that sounds really corny and cheesy and hokey and all those words, but it's true. I think of my mom, who's watching, by the way. Hi, Mom. Mimi O'Brien. Say hey. I think of my family eating scrapple. And it's like gold, you know, it's like some sort of barter system in our family that when somebody shows up with a pound of scrapple, you're like, yes, it's the greatest. Because, you know, for a while when we first moved to North Carolina, I didn't know what brand. I don't think anybody. We used to use.
You don't see it. You don't see scrapple in the stores that often.
Not
And
as often.
Really, Niece's is the only one that I've seen scrapple in the
Yeah.
stores.
Because I think the brand that I grew up eating was Habersets. Is that right? I think, but like the same idea came in a wax paper because that is the best way to store it. And so when we found Niece's scrapple, it really was a nod to my upbringing. All right, so I'm gonna get these all balled out here. And I know for a fact that you made all of this work onto one cookie sheet before.
Yep, 4 across.
You did 4 across?
Yeah, but my meatballs are a little bit smaller.
Oh. I like big balls.
My God. And we can't edit it because it's on Facebook Live.
Listen, I said this is my first glass of wine in a week. What do you expect? It's getting all loose. All right. That also didn't sound well, I'm aware. Or sound great, but I'm aware of that. All right. Take this one. So again, preheat your oven to 375. I'm just gonna make this into a couple other meatballs here. And then, isn't this the worst part of making meatballs, is that you kind of have to like eyeball which ball deserves more, you know? Which one did you skimp on? Definitely think this guy did. All right, and so about 30 minutes in the oven that's preheated at 375. These don't look as pretty as the ones that Ben made, but they're gonna taste just as delicious. All right, I'm gonna wash my hands. And we do have our grits going. I'm not going to make those on the cooking show because everybody likes their grits a different way. You can make them cheesy. You can add some green onion. You could add some pieces of bacon if you were cooking bacon or sausage to render down for the bacon fat.
You can do instant if you want to. We did like the stone ground. I don't know what brand they were, but the ones that take about 30 minutes on the stovetop to do.
This gravy is getting nice and thick. My sister, a couple episodes ago, recommended that we show how we plate each menu item that we're making each week. So we are going to do that. I pulled a plate from this time, or from the cabinet this time, because last time I forgot, and we had our sign posted there, and I couldn't plate it. So here goes our country sausage meatballs. They're going to go into an oven of 375. And the magic of television. I wish I had smoke here.
You better have that mitt on.
Yeah. Magic of television, you also get to see that I'm in my pajamas. It's cooking at home. Comfortable. Get that going. Voila! There they are. I'm going to save that the sausage renderings. We're going to save it and add it right to our container. I am going to get these in the oven so that they're cooking well whenever they'll go in. All right, so let's plate it up. Get our grits here. Yes.
No, I'm just crossing my fingers and hoping that the grits didn't turn into
It's going to be fantastic.
a giant blob.
Remember, Father's Day. This is the perfect meal for Father's Day. It is a really fun take on a recipe that my husband grew up eating, which was ground beef meatballs in a tomato sauce over mashed potatoes. So this is a different take on it, but it's using local tomatoes that are in season right now, heirloom tomatoes. Again, the uglier, the better they taste. We are going to put a little bit of some grits down here. Right in the bottom of the bowl. I'm just going to use my hands because why not, right? And, well, I think, let's see.
I'll get mobile here with the
Okay.
Can you get them off?
Yeah.
Okay.
Two. How many does Dad like? 4, 5? I'll just do 3 for right now. All right. So far, so good. And then we're going to take some of this delicious tomato gravy.
Might need a different spoon.
And let's see.
It's not.
Have a little bit of a scoop, although I don't have all the gadgets. I want all the gadgets, I don't have all the gadgets yet. And I'll take that and just spoon it right on top. And see, this was quick. Oh, I kind of made it ugly. This is quick, and it was super easy. And it is going to be all the tastes of summertime, which is nuts to even think that we're, not that far away from 4th of July. All right, and if you were super prepared, what you could do is put a little parsley right on top, but I used all of it to go into the meatballs. So this, you guys, is our country sausage meatballs over grits in a tomato gravy. Thank you so much to Denise's Country Sausage and also to Jolo Winery and Vineyards. We paired a pink. We paired the rosé with it. You know what? J.W. Ray from Jolo Winery and Vineyards said that he thought that this would be a really great pairing, and he was 100% correct. It's light, it's refreshing, and now I can't wait to dig into this. I guess I'll give this first portion to them.